Okay, let's see if we can improve this. Let's create a new comp. Use whatever settings you need to. I'm just going to do 400 by 400. Let's call this tests. The number one thing I like to do before any sort of build-in animation is create what it's going to look like at the end. So its end state. What I would do is toggle off my transparency. I'd also open up my title and action safe, and I grab the pen tool, switch this to about 50 pixels. Click here once. Click there. If you hold down the shift, that'll give you a nice even edge. If we go to our line, tap that button there, that'll center it. Next, if we go down into at the contents of the shape, in the stroke here, instead of calling it a butt cap, we'll call it a round cap. Grab your text, center it up, and we'll find a nice spot for it. Instead of putting it right in the middle, we might just shift it a little bit to the left, because we're going to have a little icon here on the side. In terms of your magnifying glass, just go to flat icon. You'll find all these lovely designed icons there. It's all for free. I've grabbed one already. Perfect. And drop that in, and let's just scale it down so it fits nicely in there. What I always like to do with this kind of stuff is if you hold Control or Command R, just tap it once. These will bring up the rulers. You can put one ruler here, and we'll try and make this match the size of your text, so everything's nice and uniformed. Beautiful. Okay, we've got our end result. That's all we need. Now we just need to animate it in. Let's look at one element at a time, because we don't want to get overwhelmed with everything. So I'm going to turn off these, actually, just here, these little buttons here. I'm going to switch back my own transparency here so I can see what's happening behind. And for this to build in, I think what I want to do is I want it to sort of pop up first as a little tiny ball and then expand out. So I'm going to move my anchor point, actually. So if you go up to here, this is your pan behind tool, and you just click on it and just move your anchor point just to where the bottom of the bar is. Open up your shape layer. There's a little add icon here, a little pull down menu, and there's one called trim path. So let's just click on that. It's going to add a trim path. So what that does is that allows us to trim the path. And because we want it to start in the middle, what we'll do is we'll just we'll have our start at 50 and our end at 51, and that just gives us this nice sort of round ball. And the first thing we're going to do is it's going to scale up. So we'll just go to scale here, and I don't know, let's just say for half a second it pops in. And as a general rule, you don't always have to do everything at 0. I'm going to pull this back up and move this up to full. Great. And then after that, we're going to open up our trim paths, and we're going to select the start and end. Just click on the stopwatch here, and we're going to sort of slide this out to, again, about 1.5 seconds. And all we need to do with here is just drag this out to 100, drag that back to 0, or you can type in 0, whatever you like. And we'll just have a quick look, see how that looks. So it's looking a bit robotic at the moment. So what we want to add is some easing, just to give it a bit of life. And I really want that scale, I really want it to pop in. Like what we do is we can open up our graph editor here, and we click on our scale, and you'll see we've got our 2 keyframes here. And we can highlight them both by just clicking and dragging. And this is called Easy Ease, and you just push that, and it's give you these 2 little handles here, which allow you to sort of change the easing. Now, the general rule for this is the longer something looks, the longer it's going to take. So the wider it is, the longer it's going to take. The shorter it is, or the tighter it is, the faster it's going to be. So we want this to sort of pop out. So we really want it to start out really fast, and then it's going to ease in nice and slow. And I actually want it to have a bit of overshoot. So if we lift this up just a little bit, it's going to actually go a little bit larger. It's going to go, you can actually see here a percentage. It's going to go 170% in scale, and it's going to come back down to 100%, which is going to give like that a real sort of nice sort of like pop-in effect. And we might just drag this one in here as well, just to ease it in to make it nice and smooth. And we play that back, you get a nice little pop. And now we can do the exact same to our trim paths. We really want it to sort of, again, keep in time with that. It sort of pops in We can experiment with a few different things here, but what we might do is we'll, again, hit the easy ease so we get these little handles up, and what we might do is we might make the start a little bit short, and we might drag at the ending. So we'll just drag these in and get kind of a bell shape here. So, pop, out. Lovely. And as you can see, we've got our scale and our trim paths separate to one another. So what we can do is we can just slide this along a little bit. Kind of want it to just kick in a bit faster. So when it sort of settles down with the scale, we want it to pop out. Lovely. The rest is really easy now. We've done most of the hard work. Let's bring the magnifying glass in now. And we're going to make sure this all lines up here. And what we're going to do is we also need to animate this coming across. So what we can do is we can open up the position on the magnifying glass, right click, separate dimensions. And what we're doing here is we're sort of separating the X and Y so we can control those individually. So let's tap on the X position and we're going to slide this back across. As you can see, I've left my keyframes open up down here so I can sort of almost copy them. And we can slide this X across. So it's sort of in the center there. And again, we're going to open up our keyframe editor here. And we want it to sort of, you can copy and paste, but sort of keyframe information. But what I want to do here is just kind of eyeball it a little bit. And again, we want it to sort of start out pretty slow. We're going to go for that bell shape again. So again, if you can imagine before we had that bell shape before, this is just the top half of it because we're only dealing with one attribute. And it should match. It's a little bit faster. So what we might do is we might just drag this guy in a bit. That's looking nice. And what we can do here for the scale, we can actually take this and parent it to our shape layer down here. So we click on this little pick whip, bring it down to the shape layer, select that, and then he should scale in with your shape layer, which is looking really nice. Excellent. And lastly, let's just do your text. And if we turn that back on, there's actually a preset, an animation preset that works really well for animation like this. And so if you slide down here, down to effects and presets, if you don't have this window, you just can add it down here on the side, see effects and presets. And I've already done it before, but if you type in slide and pop, this is a great animation preset that you can use anywhere on any sort of text layer. So let's say we want the text to start building in here. Let's just slide it along on the timeline till it hits about here. Do a slide and pop. Just drop that on. And what we want to do, we want each letter to come in one at a time. And as you can see, our text has moved up here. I don't know if I want that. It kind of looks a little bit, I prefer it to go the other way. So we're going to go back to the start. Click on this and we're going to we've got our Y position offset and we're just going to bring it down underneath. So it sort of pops in. Yes. Lovely. Now, if we turn transparency off, you will see that the text sort of just starts out in the middle of nowhere. And the way we can fix that is really easy. Let's just pull these up. We can just grab this as a matte track, drag it down here to the shape layer. So we're using the shape layer's transparency as a mask. By default, After Effects turns it off, but if you switch it back on, it'll be right there. So it'll pop in and there's your text. Easy, done. Hope that helps.